What's Bruin at the Culinary Academy podcast? We are just chefs chewing the fat about all things food related with insightful and casual conversation in a lighthearted manner. We will invite guests every so often to join us at our table, such as chefs, industry professionals, students, and anyone who is a food enthusiast. So kick back and wrap your paws around your favorite beverage as you are our guests for the next 30 minutes or so, and we hope you savor the experience. Welcome back, episode 9 of our podcast. And again, I just wanted to say, because we are in a state-of-the-art podcast studio from the podcast we had before.
Yeah.
You know, this is amazing. This is like the Cadillac of podcast studios. If Cadillac is even a better brand nowadays, isn't it? What is the best brand now? Is it Lexus
Porsche?
or Mercedes?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure, but
Bugatti.
but we're in a really great great space now. Also, we're going to have video. So. All right. So welcome to episode 9 of our podcast. We're in a brand new podcast studio, which we're very excited about. And hopefully we'll be able to share a video soon.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We just had our executive producer come in and fix our camera. So if he was going to edit it out, I'm just saying it again.
Yeah, you know, just a little extra here. The man behind the curtain that you don't see.
Exactly. So with that being said, I am your host, Chef Steve Weiss, Associate Dean of Hospitality and Culinary Arts here at Blue Ridge Community and Technical College, along with Chef Miriam Conroy, Culinary Chair and Instructor Extraordinaire. And last but not least, our Executive Producer, Joel Hassop, and he is the man behind all the podcasts.
Yeah.
He gets everything on air for us, right? And we can't do it without him. We greatly appreciate Joel for doing this.
Yeah, yes. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So in this segment, we have our first segment. We have our What's Bruin segment, and we have a student spotlight. And this student spotlight is Emma Berst. Emma Berst is going to be a culinary graduate, right, Emma?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so she's going to be a culinary arts graduate. And she's going to be a senior in the month of December. So you're going to be graduating in December, but you're going to be walking in May.
Right.
Right? And you are going to be walking, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. Right, so...
Welcome to the podcast, Emma.
Absolutely,
and thank you for doing this, because I know it can be a little intimidating.
It's a little nerve-wracking, but I'm excited.
Right. So much like we rake chicken over the coals, we're going to rake Emma over the coals today. And we have a bunch of questions that Emma hasn't seen before. So without prior knowledge, we're going to start asking some questions to you. And Miriam, you want to take the first question?
Sure. Can you tell us, where are you currently working?
I am currently working at the Hillbrook Inn right now out in Summit Point. It's amazing, beautiful bed and breakfast, and just amazing scenery, food, just atmosphere and everything.
You know, I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'm glad that you're working there because, you know, honestly, before you started working there, I didn't even know the Hillbrook was even there.
Oh, no. I knew it was there, but we just didn't seem to make any kind of connection.
Yeah, there was no connection, and I feel sorry about that because I think we went, and it's an amazing property. I was very impressed by the property.
Well, not only Emma did her internship there, we have another student who doing his internship there.
Right.
So it's turned out to be a very good collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're very, very excited for that, and we're hoping at some point to get your boss, your chef here, and talk to us about his experience with interns. So that's going to be a great thing for us.
Very cool.
Yeah. So any reflections on your internship or culinary classes that you've taken?
Well,
I can. And you don't have to say Chef Miriam's your favorite instructor.
Because everybody knows it's true.
I mean,
it could be your math teacher.
Yeah, well.
No, that's math. That never happens.
No, I don't think anybody can say they've had a favorite math teacher. I'd say it's hard to pick a class that I've loved more because I've loved all of them equally. I will say my semester that I had to do my soups and stocks class and my international was unconventional, to say the least, because I was the only student in them.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
And I really enjoyed the international class, even though it was just me and you cooking together.
It was, yeah. And we had to build a program. We had to have enough content for you to get the experience with the ingredients. So what we ended up doing was whatever was on my schedule, whatever was in my curriculum for that week, we served at the Bruin Cafe the next day.
Yeah.
So not
cool.
only did Emma actually get to work with the food that I wanted her to, she learned about scaling up and scaling down.
Yeah.
And
It was truly applied learning.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
very
It
much
was.
so.
And customers reap the benefits of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like you got the private chef tutor there, you know,
Exactly,
exactly.
just the one-on-one there.
Now, typically our student-to-teacher ratios are not that low.
No.
At least not anymore.
We do like to talk about how great it is to have a lower student to faculty ratio, but not always going to be like that.
Right.
No, and really, I mean, that was just, Emma was our last pandemic baby.
I know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so we're glad that your experience has been well received, and ultimately our goal is to give you as much experience and knowledge that we can to make you successful in the industry. We want our employers, our partners to hire students like yourself, and have a good experience, so they come back to us again, and the whole system just comes back around.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But part of it, too, though, is that Emma's been a big participant in her education.
That's true.
She's passionate about culinary. She always wants to go the extra mile. And if you needed a volunteer for something, she was the first one to put her hand up. So she was very, very proactive in her own education.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen Emma at a lot of different events, handing out food and different things like that. So I know she was super involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a go-getter and determined on what you're going to do and what you want to do, and learning as much as possible, throughout your career, throughout your educational career, throughout your professional career. I remember when I was in the industry, and you had 2 weeks vacation. One of those weeks was for education, and one of those weeks was for pleasure. And I would take the weekend for education, and I would go and work somewhere, or I would go back to school again for a week, whether it's the CIA or Johnson & Wales, or whether it would be back in a community college and working with the students or just the instructors there, just to get that background education so that I know what is up and coming, what's trendy, something that I could bring back to my business, so if you can continue to learn and educate yourself throughout the process, and learning never stops. We're constantly learning.
But that's one of the most exciting things about working with food.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
There's always a new method to learn.
Always.
There's always somebody's coming up with a new combination of flavors,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really, if I had gotten into the food industry at your age, I'd have gone around the world 3 times by now. Because it's just, you can go anywhere in the world, and you can work, and you can learn new things, and fantastic.
Yeah. So our next question is, what are your short-term goals after graduation?
Well, I definitely want to save up some money before I start traveling. Traveling is one of my goals, to get out there, see the world. I've grown up in West Virginia my entire life, all 21 years, and I've never been out of the country. I've only been up and down this part of the United States. So, I'd like to be well-versed in my travel and just meet as many chefs and network as much as possible. You guys have taught me that networking is the most important thing in your career, to build it, to make connections, so you can always reach out when you're somewhere else and be like, hey, I'm here. I want to work.
Very much so.
Yeah, you have to make yourself known, and networking is very key. It's being talented is a big plus, but networking can get you jobs that even if you're not talented, can get you jobs and bring you places. But if you're talented to boot, I mean, that'll take sky's the limit.
Sure.
Yeah.
And chefs talk. It certainly makes it much easier if you're a good hard worker and you follow instruction, which is one of the things that chefs say that's what they really want. They want somebody that can come in, they can give them a set of instructions, and they can follow through on that, right? If you can do all of that, they talk to each other, And if you're working for a chef and you say, well, I'm thinking of checking out Nashville. Oh, I have a contact down there. Let me make a call for you.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what you're looking for, to ease that way.
Yeah.
Right? But again, it comes back to your work ethic and your sense of yourself, and that you're willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. You want to take the last question?
Sure. Where do you see yourself in the future? What is Emma's dream job?
That's a hard one. I definitely say that my long-term end goal is to be working in a Michelin star restaurant. Not running a Michelin star restaurant, maybe being Sue. I'm gonna get there, but for myself right now, I currently just see myself working in one. That's really what I want to do. It's always what I've wanted to do since I stepped foot in this building, is to work somewhere that has the highest standards, holds the highest care about what they put out, and just the artistry. I want to be creative with what I want to do. I mean, creativity is my whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It is, and it's really exciting.
It's a very good goal to have.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to have goals like that. It's, there are a lot of really good chefs out there, and you just need to be willing to have a bag ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
for
and
the
you're 21 years old. This is the time to do it now, right?
For the uninitiated to culinary, what does it mean to do the Michelin star? Like, what is that?
So Michelin Star it's a tire company that has set up a roadmap of all of these amazing places to eat around the country. And so they're awarded stars based on their performance, based on their food, and just everything, service. It's not even just about the food. It's about the hospitality, the servers, just the entire restaurant itself.
Yep.
And so that is the dream, to work in a Michelin star restaurant.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's like the ultimate award.
Yeah.
So it's like the Oscars.
Yeah.
Let's
Literally.
think about it that way.
It is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with Oscars, though, unfortunately, with Michelin stars, you can lose them.
Yep.
With Oscars, you can't.
Yeah,
Right.
it's an ongoing excellence.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, that's even better, because then you know that it's earned and it's kept, and it's they're always constantly keeping that standard there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, we wish you all the luck in the world, and if there's anything that we can do to help, in your journey throughout that, and get to a Michelin star restaurant, we'll definitely take part in coming over and
supporting you.
Supporting you, being a part of
Trying
it.
the food.
Just send us a postcard from wherever you're at.
I will.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in 5 years, do an update podcast.
Absolutely.
Really cool,
That would be amazing. We'll have Emma come back here, and she'll be teaching one of our classes.
Yeah.
Right?
That would be cool.
A visiting.
Absolutely.
Adjunct.
Absolutely. Yeah, we would love that. All right. So we're going to go right into our next segment, is Into the Dish Pit. And our next segment is a food safety segment. And we're going to talk briefly about Thanksgiving and holiday food safety, since I would say the majority of the food safety abuse probably happens in the home around these holidays. And it's the thing is it okay to take a frozen turkey 2 days out of the refrigerator and just leave it on the counter, Chef?
God, no. Please don't do that. Yeah, salmonella, here we come.
Right.
No. So what you want to do with your turkey, depending on the size, but most come in somewhere between 10 and 12, 14 pounds. That turkey has to be out of the freezer at least 1 week before you plan to cook it. So get it out now.
Yeah.
Keep it in the refrigerator and let it defrost in the refrigerator. It is by far the safest way to do it. USDA also tells you that you can put it under running water. And I'm sorry, that's well and good if it's a chicken breast or something like that you're trying to defrost real quickly. But for a turkey like that, with all the bone and everything in it, please put it in the refrigerator.
Right. Plus, you're wasting all that water, right?
Yeah.
It's constantly running water. It's
water.
one of the largest resources we have, but we still don't want to use it all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So it's something that when I grew up, and I don't know about any of you guys, but when I grew up, that was almost something that happened all the time. You would see the turkey on the counter like a day or 2 days before, thawing out at room temperature. And, I guess we were lucky not to get sick. And if we did get sick, we always thought it was the flu.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think a lot of the same symptoms for safety or salmonella poisoning or anything like that, any of the foodborne illnesses, they kind of mimic what a cold or what a flu would be.
Yeah, the stomach
Apart
flu is
from
going
the
around.
gastroenterologist.
But if you're sick, sometimes you have that too.
Right.
So, it's hard to say, but I think I think I was reading an article a while back saying that a lot of the folks going to the ER over the holidays, if they're sick, it's not the cold. It's more likely it's probably foodborne illness.
Yeah.
You know,
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, yeah. So we have links, and we have to our show notes. We have links in our show notes, and we have a nice little PDF from the USDA about Let's Talk Turkey, right? So give you some information as to what to do and how to do it, and how to do it safely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
So stuffing. It's actually better if you cook your stuffing separately. You can do that, and then prior to presentation, you can stuff your bird if that's what you want to do. With your dark meat, please make sure you have to go to 165 at least, right, on your breast. Your dark meat, you want to go up a little bit higher, probably about 170, 173 at least. And please remember that you're also going to have carryover cooking. So what happens when you bring your bird out of the oven and you're going to sit it up and let it rest, make sure you just tent it lightly. And what will happen is that the internal temperature of your bird will actually come up by at least about another 5 degrees. So keep that in mind, too, because you want to make sure that your turkey remains moist. One of the best ways to avoid all of that is to butterfly your turkey. And if you check out the notes, I have a recipe up for, it's called spatchcoching. And there's a recipe up there where you butterfly the bird and you flatten it. You brine it, which is another great way of keeping your bird moist, but it has to be defrosted for you to do that. You can't throw a frozen turkey into the brine. That won't work. So you brine your turkey, and then it's all flattened. And then the cooking time, of course, is greatly reduced. You could throw it on the grill at that point, or you can put it in the oven. So that's another way.
I had just seen a friend post about that method just last week, and then I saw your email about the way to do that. I was like, oh, wow. For some reason, I'd never seen or heard of that before, and then here we are.
It's if you don't have a huge oven, right, it's just the ideal way to do it.
Yeah.
It just makes things a lot easier.
Well, how long after the bird comes out should you wait before you cut?
Depending on your poundage, anywhere from 20 minutes to half an hour. You need to give it sufficient time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Good. Well, these are good thoughts, and hopefully on the show notes, you guys take a look at it. And this is not just for Thanksgiving. This is for holidays, any holidays. You know, turkey is, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, turkey was just served on Thanksgiving. Now you can get turkey all year long.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Just like ham, right? So it's definitely something to go back and look at. All right, so our next spotlight segment is tools and equipment. So Chef Miriam has chosen something appropriate for today, which goes along with poultry. So what is that, Chef?
It's actually poultry shears or kitchen shears. Now, poultry shears are slightly different from kitchen shears. They have a little curve on the end, so they're specific for getting through those bones. And they're just a fantastic tool. It's a much safer way to take out the backbone of a bird with the shears rather than with the knife. So I would highly recommend. They're not an expensive thing that you have to spend hundreds of dollars to buy. You can get a good one for about $50 and a reasonably good one for about $25. But either way, it's a safer method of removing bone and opening up a bird or any other joint of meat like that than a knife.
I've never used shears to do any of that. I've never tried it.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen people do it.
Yeah, they're easy.
I've seen people do it. It's probably difficult. I know it's probably easier with smaller birds, though.
Oh, yes, much.
Yeah. Turkeys are probably tougher.
But that's why the shears are really good. They're designed to get through those bones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we do have pictures in our show notes, so please, if you have access, we can go ahead and access that. And you can also do just a quick Google search on poultry or kitchen shears, and you get an idea. And then there's probably tons of videos that'll show you how to do it. Yeah. Has Julia Child ever done that on her show? Has she used kitchen shears? I can't remember if she has.
No,
I kind of almost recall that she has.
Yeah.
I know somebody had on TV that I've seen. I can't remember who, but I know somebody had used it.
Yeah.
probably Jacques Pepin. That's the sort of thing
You're
that he
right.
would do.
You're right. And you know what? You're probably right.
Yeah.
I do recall that. So we should actually talk about him.
Oh, yeah. I could do a whole show on it.
so we
Don't
should
get me
talk-
started.
Yeah, we should talk about him. That's a good one to talk about.
That's great.
All right, so we're going to go right into our next segment, which is our recipe segment. And this recipe was brought to you by Emma. All right, Emma, you want to talk a little bit about your butternut squash recipe?
Oh, yes. So I actually did this recipe during our wedding season as a vegan option for our guests. We have a lot of dietary restrictions that come through our doors.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to be very flexible and offer, options other than just salad.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because, I know your feelings on just offering
Yeah,
salad.
you've all heard it before.
So to start off, I take 3 butternut squashes. I peel them, I deseed them, I, slather them in olive oil and salt and pepper, and I let them roast off in the oven until they're very, very soft, until you can squish them in your hands.
Mhm.
And then I dice up a large onion and some garlic, about 4 cloves, but I like to measure garlic by heart.
Mhm.
So however many you feel is good.
Okay.
And then I get my spices, about 2 tablespoons of ground allspice, 1 tablespoon of dried fennel, 2 tablespoons of ground cumin, 1 tablespoon of white pepper, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. And I take
Nice.
that and I toast it all off in the pan, let it get all fragrant and nice.
So
And
why do you toast it? What's important about that step?
to release all the flavor.
This was a test.
It's the
This was
oils.
test.
Yes. Yes. So then after you do that, I like to take them out of the pan and keep them off to the side. And then I saute my onion and my garlic and let that sweat and release all the good onion and garlic flavor. I do it until it's about translucent. And then I add the spices back in. And then once your butternut is done as well, you can pull that and add that to your pan and mix it all together. And I do water with this because you can add heavy cream if you want to, but if you're trying to stay on the vegan route, you want
Right.
water. And we only use oil. I only use oil to toast off everything. I don't use butter or anything like that, just oil.
Mm.
So then you add your water, and I bring it up to a boil, drop it down to a simmer for about 35 minutes, and then I transfer it to a food processor, blend it to the consistency that you would like it to be. And then at that time, if you choose to add heavy cream, you can. It gives it an excellent flavor to finish it off with. And if you just want to if you want to adjust the thickness of it, you can add more water, but keep tasting it to make sure you're not
Right.
letting it.
Yeah, you got to make sure that the seasoning's still there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it.
It's a shame that we don't have any right now.
I know. Should have told me. I would have made some.
we
there
made,
you go.
we
Next
made food
time.
at the last one, and we
That's
don't
right.
have food at
Yeah.
this one.
That was wonderful.
Yeah. All right, we'll have to think about that for next time.
Yeah.
Make the recipe too, right?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, this is a wonderful recipe. We're all going to try it, and we all hope that you guys try it as well. All right.
Yeah, make it part of your holiday tradition.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Emma's butternut squash.
I love it.
There you go.
Please.
I love it.
So our next segment is we usually talk a little bit about food on film or food movies, documentaries. And I picked one because this is kind of a family kind of a thing. So Ratatouille.
I love
Ratatouille
it.
is my
One of my
I
favorite
love this
Pixar's.
movie too. Oh my
And
love
I'll
it.
read. I'm going to read what's posted on the matinee, and it says anyone can cook, but only the fearless can be great. Good food, good family movie for the holidays. A rat named Remy dreams of becoming a great chef, but his family is against it. And that's the story of my life.
I saw some fun TikToks lately for Halloween that family members were being Ratatouille, and they had their baby dressed up as Remy, and they put him on their shoulders and put a hat over top of them.
Yeah.
And then someone that kind of looked like the chef from the movie be the dad, and he's like cooking, and the baby's just like playing with his hair, like
yeah,
that.
it's-
And it was really cute. It was a lot of fun.
It's probably one of my favorite Disney movies.
Oh yeah, I love it.
New age Disney movies. Not,
Yeah, like the
the old
Pixar
stuff is always
ones.
classic, but
Yeah.
the new age stuff, great for families. I mean, if mom and dad are sleeping in the lounge chair because they're so loaded on tryptophan, that put this on for the kids, man. This is like
it's a great
one of the best movies.
It is.
Not just for the kids, too.
Yeah,
I watched it last night.
All right.
And technically, it's a really clever movie.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
They actually had Thomas Keller, who's one of our top chefs in this country, come in, and he worked with the cartoonists.
Mm-hmm.
What do you,
Animators.
Animators.
Yeah,
That's the word
right.
I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and how things actually are done properly in the kitchen.
I love it.
So, technically, as far as the cooking scenes go,
They're actually really good.
they're actually really good.
Yeah, it's always odd when you're watching something and they're animated, maybe someone playing guitar and you can tell they're not playing any of the right notes or whatever. And so I'm sure similarly, if you're a chef and you're watching that, you're like, why are they putting that in with that? That doesn't make any sense. So the fact that they went above and beyond, I think Disney and Pixar does a really good job with that. Like they've done the research with things like that, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Great movie. All right, we're at our words of wisdom, our wow moment of the show. Right? Never go to a grocery store on an empty stomach, and you could reach for a falling star, but never for a falling knife. Right? Always good words of wisdom. Mm-hmm. And we hope that your time here has been insightful and entertaining. A big thank you to our guest Emma for coming in and talking
Emma.
to us about everything.
No, thank you.
And congratulations once more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to hearing a lot of great things about you.
I will
in
keep
the
you in
future.
the loop. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I will.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
This has been a What's Brewing at the Academy podcast, brought to you by the Academy of Hospitality and Culinary Arts at Blue Ridge Community and Technical College. You can listen to this and other podcasts just like this one on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And we thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.